is technology expert Burton Kelso with another tech tip to help you get the most out of the technology in your life. Today we're talking about email accounts and how they're linked to your online accounts. This may not sound like a big deal, but one of the problems of having email accounts linked to other online accounts is that it makes it easier for cyber criminals to get access to your personal information. That's right, the more accounts that are intertwined, like my fingers are, it means it's easier for cyber criminals to get a hold of your personal information. There probably have been many times that you have signed on to social media sites or other add-in sites with the same email address. The more sites that you let have access to your email, it means it's easier for cyber criminals to get a hold of your information. So what do you need to do to unlink these accounts? And the thing that is the most challenging is to figure out which accounts are linked to your emails. But luckily there are some easy things that you can do in order to find out which accounts have access to your email. So without further ado, let's take a look at some screenshots of things that may have your email, and then we'll actually look at some other things that you can do to find out who has access to your email and steps that you can do to kind of minimize the amount of people that have access to your email. Because remember, your email address is a gateway to a lot of your online accounts. So all it takes is your email address and probably some of those easy to use or easy to remember passwords that you use to get into your accounts, and cyber criminals have access to your entire history, especially email accounts, which many of you I know are using to store your personal information, which you know you should not be doing. So let's take a look at what accounts are being used and what you can do to minimize that. So we're going to take a screenshot at Yahoo Mail. So Yahoo Mail in the past couple of years has allowed you to integrate different email addresses with your Yahoo account. Now the idea with many of these services is so that you will use one central location to access all of your email accounts. It doesn't matter if you have Google, Yahoo, Outlook.com, or even your own domain. The whole idea with the free web-based accounts is to have you log into one area to get access to your email, because once you do that, you get access to the ads, which help these companies make more money. So with Yahoo Mail is an area under mailboxes where you can go in and you can add either an email alias for Yahoo, or you can add a mailbox list. See it here where it says you can connect your Google, Outlook, or even your AOL. AOL, right? Who uses AOL? Well, believe it or not, there are a lot of people still using AOL to access their email. So you can interconnect all of those accounts. So if cyber criminals were to get access to your Yahoo account, if you've got all of your email addresses listed under the mailboxes, then they would have access to all of those accounts by just getting into your Yahoo. So my suggestion would be to go into Yahoo Mail if you're still using it, and to remove those addresses or those emails altogether, because you don't really want all that email to come into one central location. And it's just a simple matter of removing those email addresses out of Yahoo and using one account. Now, with the next one, which is Google, it's a little bit different story. So Google, like some of the social media services out there, will allow you to access third-party apps with your Google email account. Now, there's an alert that pops up when you go to specific websites that will allow you to sign on using an online account. One of the first ones that I can think of that comes to mind would be you small business users that are using Wix to design your website. You have the option to log in with either Facebook or with Google, and there's other sites that allow you to do that as well. But when you do that and allow social media and email sites to access with your account, it creates a section where these third-party apps have access to your email. Now, the challenge with third-party apps having access to your email is, let's say that one of these accounts were to get broken into, say your Zoom account, Slack, or even your Microsoft apps that have access to Gmail. the problem that occurs with that is when those accounts are hacked or become breached, which is kind of the same thing, they have access to your email. It means one more step that cyber criminals have to get a hold of your online accounts. So the best thing to do when you're logging into accounts is to make sure that you are logging in separately with an email address rather than allowing an app or an email to, or your email service to have access via an app. Now again, if we go back to the Google account, if you go to Google account and go to settings and look for apps with access to your account, you definitely want to remove these sites from here. It's just a simple matter of clicking on one of these sites, and that would actually work if we were using the actual Google account. Instead, it forwards our slides. But anyway, if you click on one of these when you're in Google, you can tell it to remove it, and that way that app no longer, or Google no longer has access to that app. Again, minimize which sites have access to your, which apps or websites have access to your email. That is key. Now the next would be Hotmail, believe it or not. So if you go into Hotmail, as you can see, you can do the subscriptions, and subscriptions are basically sites that you can integrate within your Hotmail or Outlook account. Shouldn't use Hotmail anymore because Hotmail is not being used. It's Outlook.com. But again, you can go into subscriptions and make sure that none of your other email sites are logged in with the Hotmail site. Now, let's talk about social media. Now, social media sites are notorious for having access to your, or apps having access to your social media accounts. I'll get that right one of these days. But anyway, yeah, it's really easy for social media sites to have access to your email, and that's something you definitely don't want to happen. So if I can bring up a browser window real quick, I'll show you how to go into those accounts and to look at those settings as far as your social media sites are concerned. So we got that going. Let's switch screens, and we're going to take a look at LinkedIn, because a lot of people don't realize with LinkedIn integrates with specific apps that you may not be aware of. So if you go into settings in LinkedIn and under data privacy, you definitely can go in and look and see which apps are integrated with LinkedIn. And as you can see under the data privacy section, you want to go down to other applications, and as you can see, lo and behold, there are programs that integrate with LinkedIn that have access to your information. Now, I will say with this, it's up to you as far as you want, as far as social media not having access to these apps, because some apps are important to have access to your social media accounts. For example, if we go and look at Constant Contact is integrated into LinkedIn, or to my LinkedIn account. And one of the things that it's used for, and it tells you that you can use your basic, or it uses your basic profile. Constant Contact accesses other information within LinkedIn. And one of the things that you have to, if you live stream with LinkedIn, is to use Restream.io. If you're a LinkedIn Live user, you can use SoundCloud, or Restream.io to stream with LinkedIn. So that would have to stay, because if you want that process to work, you got to keep it. But Constant Contact, maybe you don't want that added in with LinkedIn, so you definitely can go into LinkedIn and remove that. But again, you have to make sure that these apps are essential for your social media platform to be able to use these. Now, this will be a challenge because Facebook alerts are going to pop up when I'm on here. So if one pops up, I'm going to get out of it real quickly. So if you go into Facebook and go into settings and go to apps and websites, these are all the apps that are sharing my email information within Facebook. So there's Uber, and I have no idea why. There's Camcard. I don't know why either, but I can definitely review and edit and remove these by clicking the check mark and then clicking on remove to get those apps out of there. If I no longer want them to have access to Facebook, and if I click on the down arrow, as you can see, there are a ton of apps that we can get rid of, like Kids. If I want to get rid of that, just a simple matter of clicking the check mark to Kids and hitting remove, and it will delete posts and videos that Kids did, and then it also sends a notification if I want to get into that site, letting me know there's an alternative way to log into that site rather than logging in with Facebook. But as you can see, if you look at all the apps that are added with Facebook, then those accounts actually have access to my email address. So it's always a good idea to go in and remove some of that stuff, especially if you haven't used any of that information at all. Look at this big break for small business, added July 10th of 2012. Again, I want to remove that because I'm not using it. And then I can just click on remove and it'll take it off of there as well. So beware when you're removing some of this stuff from social media, because you may actually use it and it may be detrimental for it to be plugged into your social media account in order to have access to that stuff. The next site would be Twitter. And believe it or not, Twitter actually, like all social media accounts, can get access to your email. So again, if you go down to your Twitter account, go to settings and privacy, and then go to connected apps, you can see all the apps that are linked into Twitter. That pesky Constant Contact is there, Facebook, Canva, Social Sitter, which I have no clue what it is. But anyway, these are apps that are integrated with Twitter, and you can definitely go in and remove some of these apps just to make sure that these websites don't have access to your email. Again, why is this important? Because cyber criminals, if they hack into any of those sites, they've got access to your email, and it just makes one more step easy for them to get into all of your online accounts, especially if you're using the same email account for the login for all of your accounts. Now, finally, the last social media app that has access to your email and gives apps the ability to see your email account is Instagram. So if we go back to our desktop, there's Instagram. So it's settings and then go to apps and websites. And as you can see, Wix is currently the only one that is active through Instagram. This is a must because on our Instagram site for Integral and for my personal page, Burton Kelso, Wix feeds the information from our Instagram feed onto the website. So it's important to have that information there. If you don't need it, you definitely want to remove it. You can see some of the other ones that have expired, such as Clubhouse. And then there's some other ones that have been removed that Instagram really hasn't integrated with anything on this computer. So again, make sure that you're removing those websites or those websites and apps from your social media platforms and your email, just to ensure that they don't have access to any of your personal information via your email account. Now, there are some other things that you can do too, as far as making sure that you can find out what other sites have access to your email address. One of the simpler things that you can do is just to go into your email account to do a search in your email, just to make sure that you haven't have any welcome or subscribe emails in your inbox. So if we go to Gmail, which I will open up real quick, it's just a simple matter of going to search email, and you can see some of the stuff that is listed under Google. Let's see if we can get to a good Google site and log in so that you can see what's going on. So real quick, let's switch screens, go to desktop. Just a matter of going to search at the top and typing in what you want, and find out or type in words like verification, like welcome, confirmation, unsubscribe, any of those keywords in your search for Google or any of your email programs will let you know if there are accounts that you may have signed up for or websites that you may have signed up for that are that you may have unknowingly shared information with as far as your online accounts are concerned. And then finally, you can go in to check the settings of your browser. One of the things that people are doing now, which I don't have a problem with, is that they're saving their logins for their online accounts within their browser. So if you were to go to Google or Firefox and go to settings and then go to passwords, then you can definitely see where that information is stored, and then you can figure out which online accounts have access to your email. It's too numerous because there's too many browsers out there to show you, but definitely for any browser you use, if you go with Safari, Firefox, Google Chrome, if you go into settings and go into password, it'll give you a list of all of the saved passwords for websites, or even if you've never saved your password for a site, all of those browsers will allow you to look into the password section to find out if indeed you've logged into a site at some point, and then you can go log in directly to that site to make sure that you either sign out of that site or you at least have an idea of which sites you have accessed with your email. Many people don't realize that when email accounts are leaked out on the dark web, that they come from websites that may have been compromised. So if a popular or an unpopular site is broken into, then it definitely can cause your email to be leaked out, and you can, and then it's harder for you to figure out why or where is this coming from. One other thing that I would suggest too, if you suspect your email may have been hacked, then one good site that you can go to is haveibeenpwned.com, which I'll show you here. If you go to I've Been Pwned, you can definitely check and see if any of your email accounts have been compromised in any large-scale data breach. Same thing for phone numbers too. You can type in your phone number or your email just to make sure that your phone number has not been leaked out. Now, we'll share this as well. As far as information on your smartphone, it's the same thing as far as making sure that your email and your online accounts are not sharing that data. It's easier for you to definitely do it from a desktop computer, but as far as doing it from a smartphone, it's kind of a hard thing to do. So if you're a smartphone user only, you may have to log into someone's web account on their computer to find out if those accounts have been compromised. So keep that in mind. So if you have comments and questions, leave them in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you to find out what I can do to help keep your email safe. And if you have any questions about things that you need to be doing to make sure that other online accounts aren't having unauthorized access to your email. As always, with every video, if you like this video, be sure to share, like it, follow, or whatever you can do to show some love to myself, Burton Kelso, the tech expert, or my company, Integral. Also, be sure to follow us on social media, because on all our social media accounts, there's tons of tech tips and tricks that are designed to help you get more from the technology you use at home and at work. So I love technology. I've read all the manuals, and I'm serious about making technology fun and easy to use for everyone. So take care of yourself and do many things to make you smile. And thanks for watching.